And well, good morning. Well, good morning, everyone. And for the past 4 weeks, I've been out traveling this province as a leader of the Ontario PCs, sharing our vision for the future. That's how campaigns work. But today, with the votes counted, I'm here speaking to you once again as your Premier. And I want you to know I want you to know I'll wake up every single day and go to work for all Ontarians. Whether you're a longtime supporter, voted PC for the first time, or cast your ballot for any other party. Now is the time to unite. Now is the time to build Ontario. To Andrea, Stephen, and Mike, as well as every single person who put their name on the ballot. You made our democracy stronger, and I want to thank you. To Andrea, thank you for your years of service to the people of Ontario. Let there be no doubt that you wake up every day ready to fight for what you believe in. You have the courage and of your convictions. And to Stephen, you've dedicated your life to public service, and while we may not have agreed on everything, I know you want nothing but the best for Ontario's future. Friends, we've come so far in the last 4 years together, but there's still much work to do. This campaign, I asked you to put your trust in me to get the job done. I will never, ever take your trust for granted. It's time to keep building for seniors and young families, for drivers and transit riders, for workers looking for a better job and a bigger paycheck. It's time to keep building for you. Together, let's get it done. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Premier. It's Richard Southern from City News 680. You had a big seat count last night, but at the same time, only 22% of Ontarians voted for your party. Two things. I'm curious, why do you think so few people turned out last night? And does the lowest voter turnout in history give you a mandate, Premier?
Well, I think it was pretty clear that people gave us a mandate with 83 seats, and we're going to focus on our mandate. We traveled across this province for the last 4 to 5 weeks, setting a clear direction of where we're going with this province. And where we're going, we're building highways, we're building bridges, we're building hospitals and schools, and we're going to focus on the economy, continue focusing on critical minerals and the auto sector. We're creating employment. And let's make no mistake about it. When I took office 4 years ago, we had lost 300,000 jobs. There's 550,000 more people working today than there were 4 years ago, with 340,000 jobs available for the people. That's our focus. We want to make sure that we give people better jobs and bigger paychecks.
Two immediate questions, Mr. Premier. When are you going to unveil your new cabinet, one? And number two, will you commit this morning to releasing your new mandate letters to those ministers?
So what we're going to do, we're going to take our time, sit down with our team, and we have a big agenda to fulfill and keep our promises, and we are going to make sure we keep every single promise. But we're going to take our time on this. And I can't give you a definite date, but we're going to make sure we take it slow and steady.
Will you release the mandate letter, sir?
Well, again, let me get back to you. Our mandate's pretty clear. I set our mandate for the last 4 or 5 weeks, and it's going to be very clear to the people what we need to do in this province.
Hey, good morning, Premier. Colin DeMello with Global News. It was a pretty lopsided victory last night. You took 41% of the popular vote among those who did vote. You got 83 seats. Mike Schreiner's Green Party is an example. They got 5% of the vote, 1 seat. The Liberals, 23% of the vote, only 8 seats. Is it time to consider a different voting system in Ontario that would be more representative? You have always said you're a party of the people. Would it be better to have a more representative voting system in Ontario so that those percentages actually translate to seats in the Ontario legislature?
Yeah, thanks for that question, Colin. I think this system's worked for over 100 and some odd years. It's going to continue to work that way, but I'm just so proud of the coalition. There's a lot of people last time that never voted for us that were voted for us this time, and I know the makeup of our party right across the province and the Progressive Conservative Party, we've changed the landscape. We've changed the landscape across the country. I'm so proud of getting endorsed by the private sector unions. You know, you look at our party today versus 4 years ago, it's very, very different. What I'm very proud of, we have 3 candidates from the Black community that got elected, and that's a massive achievement. I'm just so proud of each and every one of them, and it gives you a real snapshot of you know, how the party is changing, no matter if it's if union workers voting for us or other areas that people never voted for us before. Now they're voting for us. So we're changing the landscape of the Progressive Conservative Party for many years to come.
All right, thank you. And I know you said that you're going to take your time to form your cabinet, but you also have a budget that your party deliberately chose not to pass at the end of the last session. You could wait until September to come back, but do you require a summer session? Are you going to call the legislature back in the summer in order to pass that budget? And will it be passed as it was presented in the last session?
Well, Colin, thank you for that. We want to just make sure we get this right. We're going to take our time. We aren't going to rush into it. We have a big agenda to fulfill. We're going to fulfill it. And I think when it comes to the budget, you're going to see something very similar, if not almost identical. We worked hard on that budget, and we're going to move that forward. Maybe a couple tweaks here and there, but for the most part, we put our budget in front of the people, and we ran on our budget, and we're going to stick to that.
Hi, Premier. Jack Cowan from Queen's Park Region.
Hi.
In 2018, you promised to lower gas prices, home prices, hydro prices. All of those have gone up. How can Ontarians trust you to get it done when you haven't really gotten it started?
Well, we kept our promises. You know, you talk to anyone in the hydro business, the electricity business, if the other two parties would have kept going the way they were going, there'd be increases of 20-25%. We lowered it on companies to 15 to 17% lower electricity costs. We're going to continue focusing on that, making sure that we have the capacity electricity. We spent over $1 billion for 5 transmission lines down in southwestern Ontario to attract larger companies when they come here. That's what we're going to make sure that we focus on, and making sure that when it comes to the gas prices, you know, we cut 4.3 cents at the beginning of our mandate, another 5.7 cents as of July the 1st. We're just trying to put money back into people's pocket, give them a break. Inflation's going up, cost of goods are going up. So I just want to make sure we put money back in their pocket. And I'll always encourage our federal partners to do the same. Let's give the people a break for 6 months as the peak traveling time in the summer. So I encourage the federal government, give a break on the carbon tax on the 11 cents and put money back into people's pocket.
Thanks, Premier. And you didn't mention climate change at all last night or today. Why not?
Well, you know, when it comes to climate change, number one, I'm a believer in that. Number two, we've put billions of dollars into electric vehicles, cars of the future. We partnered up with the federal, provincial, and municipal governments, creating the first company to create batteries right here in Ontario, down in Windsor-Tecumseh. And by the way, I want to thank Andrew Dowie. First time in 94 years we won that riding. It's staggering. And and I just want to thank the people of Windsor, but right across the whole region. First time we were able to get more seats in Hamilton, and up in Timmins. It's unbelievable. George Perry did an incredible job. My nephew Michael, first time in 71 years in York Southwestern. So we still have a lot of work to do. But number one, message I want to get out, it's time for unity. We want to make sure we unite this province. We want to move forward, because it's not us versus people down the street. It's Ontario versus every jurisdiction in the world. We're competing for every job, every dollar of investment right here in Ontario. We have the best, the brightest people. We have the ingenuity, and we're going to take on the world, and we're going to win.
Hi there, Premier. Lisa Shing from CBC.
Hi.
You're talking a lot about unity in your speeches, so my question for you is, how can voters trust that you'll stick to your word to bring Ontarians together instead of reverting to the Doug Ford of pre-pandemic?
Well, you know, again, I think our coalition just shows it. It's about as clear as day. I inherited a party, and this party is very different now. We've kept our promises right along the way over the last 4 years, even through challenging times of the pandemic. We're going to make sure we keep our promises going forward. And our promise is very clear. We're building that 413. We're building the Bradford bypass. We're building highways right across this entire province. We have 50 hospital projects to a tune of $40 billion that we're going to invest in. We're investing in new schools. You know, we're going out there and spending $14 billion on building new schools. We're focusing on infrastructure to a tune of $158 billion. We're building Ontario, and we're bringing more companies in here every single day. And I just look forward to continue moving forward.
And if you can reflect back on the last 4 years of your leadership, what exactly would you do differently going forward?
Well, I think any leader, when you first get in, you grow into the position. I don't care if it's a private sector company or public sector. I've learned a lot over the last 4 years, and I just appreciate the support of the people out there. I'm very grateful. I always say we always look at continuous improvement. You know, if you make a decision, you have to improve on it every single day. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to continue working for the people of Ontario every single day, and we aren't going to miss a beat.
Hi, Premier.
Hi.
Your government's going to face in the next couple weeks or months renegotiating teacher and education worker contracts.
Yep.
How are you going to move towards that unity you've been talking about so that parents don't have to deal with the same level of rotating strikes and you know that teachers have not been supportive of you to this point? Yeah,
well, you know, I kind of disagree. I differentiate between labor and labor leadership, public and private sector unions. And if I could tell you how many teachers came up to me throughout this campaign and said, I'm voting for you, and I'm very, very grateful for that. So, you know, there's no magical way of finding out how many teachers voted for you, but I'll tell you, when I was out on the road, endless amount of teachers came up to me and said, we support you, we're voting for you. I know that for a fact. So I'm going to work with the head of the unions and get the best deal for the taxpayers, number one, but the best deal for the frontline teachers. We have some of the greatest teachers anywhere in the world that teach right here in Ontario. I want to thank all the teachers. I'm very, very grateful, especially the last 2 years. It was a challenging time, but you stepped up to the plate and you worked very, very hard. So we'll sit down and have a fair negotiation with the head of the teachers union. But I just want to make sure the head of the teachers union listen to their members, because I hear two different stories.
On the budget, which I understand you're not sure when you're going to bring it back, we know that you pledged during the campaign to make changes to ODSP. Are there any other changes you're planning to make before you bring the bill back?
Yeah, I apologize. It's kind of hard to hear you guys. Can you just...
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is this better? There we go. Sorry. About the budget.
Yep.
You'd pledged during the campaign to increase ODSP payments, so that'll
Yes.
be a change in the budget. Are you planning to make any other changes to that budget bill before you bring it back?
You know, we might tweak small things, and I'm glad that we raised that for ODSP, because, you know, these people are struggling. And I've always said, if you're physically or mentally unable to work, I'm always going to take care of you, always. That's what we do here in Ontario. But if you can work, there's 340,000 jobs, all different sectors, all different skill levels. Best way to help people is you know, get them a job. But we are going to increase it to the rate of inflation, and we're going to support the people that need it.
I'm sorry, did you say you're going to make other small tweaks or just tweaks to ODSP?
Well, the ODSP, we went with a rate of inflation. For the most part, the budget's going to be the budget. So we are going to tweak the ODSP because it's the right thing to do. We see costs going up. It's hard to you know, go out there and you see the cost of groceries and gas. We're just going to support the people that need it.
Yeah, hi, Premier. Randy Graff from CHCH TV. First, congratulations on your...
First of all, Randy, so great to see you, my friend. I hope you're feeling great, and
Yeah, I'm feeling way
you're
better,
looking
thank
good. So nice to have you back.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question, local questions about Hamilton, because that's what I do.
Yeah.
Your last administration is basically the only one I can remember that didn't have a cabinet minister from Hamilton. Can the people of Hamilton expect to have representation at the cabinet table this time?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't discuss positions about cabinet, and I have one rule with our caucus: don't lobby me for cabinet, or no one lobby me, or your supporters lobby me. It just doesn't work that way with me. We sit down, we do evaluation. I want to thank Neil Lumsden, Donna Skelly, two great MVPs. They're going to play both. They're going to play a critical role in our government. But I want to thank the people of Hamilton. You know, we worked Hamilton very hard. We were able to get an electric arc furnace in Dofasco and in Angoma up in Sault Ste. Marie. That's like taking 1 million cars off the road. So we're going to work hard to make sure that the people of Hamilton have great representatives.
And next, I'd like to ask you about Alderman Norfolk. Bobby Ann Brady won handily there. Did you or your party, your handlers, miscalculate, underestimate the influence of Toby Barrett?
No, you know something? I don't look at a riding by riding. I want to congratulate the winner. What I do want to focus on is making sure that we move forward, getting the economy going in every single region. We're very blessed with 83 seats. You know, I was up to 3 o'clock, probably 4 o'clock in the morning, analyzing the numbers. You can run through them over and over, but you know, you win some by a few hundred votes, and you lose some by a few hundred votes. So, you know, we just run through it, and we're going to support every single person in Ontario, no matter if they voted for us or they didn't vote for us, no matter if their riding voted for us or they didn't. I think we showed that going into Windsor. Windsor had massive investments, never voted for a PC candidate in 94 years. They got a new hospital, they got new roads, they got new schools, they got a $5 billion investment with LG and Stellantis, and then another $3.6 billion investment for a third shift at the Stellantis plant down there, and Chrysler up in Brampton. You know, like I've said to everyone, I'm not big into these political stripes. I don't care if you're from the red, blue, green, orange party. I'm going to take care of you. We're going to work hard and create jobs in your area, no matter what party you vote for.
Morning, Premier Antonella Artuso from the Toronto Sun. There are increasing warnings in the United States of recession, stagflation. You, more than most people, would know how connected our economies are. What, if anything, can you do to protect Ontario from that?
Well, we have to make sure that we're competitive. And before I took office 4 years ago, we were not competitive. We chased 300,000 jobs out. We gave $7 billion of burden. We took it off companies, and they're flocking into Ontario. You have to create the environment for companies to come here and thrive and prosper and grow. And when companies thrive, prosper, and grow, make no mistake about it, their employees thrive, prosper, and grow. And we create this climate that you can be an entrepreneur and open your own business. So we're going to have the most competitive jurisdiction anywhere in North America and the world, because we're competing against our friends in the U.S., over in Europe, over in South America, over in Asia, but we have the brightest and the best people anywhere in the world. And when we stick together, when we're united, we're unstoppable. And we're going to be united with the 444 municipalities. We have a phenomenal relationship with the federal government and the provincial government. I don't care what political stripe you're from. We work together. Your community is going to benefit, Ontario is going to benefit, and Canada is going to benefit.
Thank you, Premier. You said in your remarks that you intend to keep your promises, but you didn't make many. You didn't release an election platform with any detail on what you were planning. So do you feel that the voters of Ontario have given you basically a blank slate or a blank check for the next 4 years?
No, I don't believe that. It's a good question, but I don't believe that for a second. Our mandate was pretty clear. I'm building Highway 413, the Bradford bypass, along with another half a dozen highways across the province. We're going to continue to build new hospitals with 50 projects going on in the healthcare sector right across this province. And we're building new schools, but we're going to continue focusing on creating good jobs for the people of Ontario. And there isn't a sector out there that's not hiring right now. We have a very diverse sector, and we're going to make sure we take the burdens off the backs of the people and off the businesses, so we can be competitive against every jurisdiction out there around the world.
Hi, Premier. It's Rob Ferguson from the Toronto Star. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Just want to get back to Bill 124 and specifically with the public sector contract talks, teachers and probably nurses coming up as well. It's a 1% cap, and you said you wanted to have fair negotiation.
Yeah.
That 1% cap appears to be on a collision course with an inflation rate that's running at 7% annually. So are you going to ease that cap for certain segments of the public sector? I know you might not want everyone in the public sector getting a bigger raise, but you've called healthcare workers heroes and you're praising
they
teachers.
deserve it.
So what's your plan there?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me address the healthcare workers, especially the nurses. I'm very grateful for all the work they've done. To support them. A lot of people called it retention pay. I called it a very thank you pay from everyone across the province. And we gave the nurses $5,000 bonus. That equals a 7.6% on the average increase. But I'm a strong believer when you get inflation, we got to treat people fairly. And I guess a couple of these agreements lapse, and I think it's August is the first one. We're going to sit down and negotiate fairly with with no matter what union it is. But I'm a strong believer of being fair with the people. They're out there working hard, doing a great job, and we rely on them. So I'm very grateful for everyone, especially the nurses.
All right, thank you for that. And second question. You've got a lot more MPPs to choose from, including in new regions like Windsor, in making a cabinet. Are you planning a big revamp of the cabinet, or are you going to just be tinkering?
Well, we're just going to sit down with our team and run through all the new members. I think there's 17 new members and different regions, and we're going to sit down and look at every single region, look at every person's skill level, and we just have a fabulous team. We're able to get to know each other over the last 4 years, and the new candidates I was really able to get to know over the last little while. We have really a real incredible group of women and men that got elected, and I'm just so grateful for all their hard work.
Hi, Premier. Holly Mackenzie-Cedar with Canadian
Hi.
Press. I wanted to ask about something you said in your speech last night when you talked about creating a more efficient government. What did you mean by that, and does it mean spending cuts?
Yeah, thanks for that. So, I come from the private sector. I'm a strong believer in lean methodologies, Lean Six Sigma, driving standardization process, making their job easier to get things done, get rid of the red tape and a lot of unnecessary regulations, duplication of regulations that the province has and the federal government has. There's so much room for efficiencies in government, and I really encourage not only the province, but the municipalities drive efficiencies and the federal government drive efficiencies. Any government official that sits in front of this camera or any camera out there, anyone, municipal, provincial, or federal, and said, we're running an efficient shop, well, I'm sorry, they aren't. There's always room for continuous improvement. We put a lean team together, and what this does, it doesn't cut. It drives efficiencies. Every major corporation that exists out in the world looks at lean methodologies. And there's always better ways. And with technology, too, coming on board, there's better ways of delivering services in a more efficient way at a lower cost. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure we respect the taxpayers' money. And that money that we save, it can go right into healthcare, goes right into education. So that's what we're going to focus on.
Thanks. And you also mentioned kind of owning mistakes and changing the way you did some things to get these unions and labor support on board, and also said you have more work to do to keep this coalition together. So I'm wondering what you're going to do differently this time around to keep these new supporters on side. And when you talk about mistakes and maybe changing some things, is kind of second to Rob's question on Bill 124, is that something you regret, and are you going to kind of listen to these unions' concerns and scrap the wage freeze?
Yeah, thank you for that. I think it was a pretty clear cut between all the parties. The skilled trade workers, the trade unions that I'm so grateful for, that we work so hard, and I give all the credit, by the way, to Monty McNaughton. He did an incredible job as Minister of Labour. They looked back at all three parties And they said, hey, this plan from the PCs are going to keep us working. They're investing $158 billion into building the roads and the bridges and the highways and the schools. And we have work for decades to come. My biggest challenge right now, we need more people. We need more people from around the world, around our country, to come here to Ontario. We have a gap of 340,000 jobs. 1 in 5 people are going to be working in the skilled trades in 2025. So we're going to continue the training programs. We'll make sure that we have the 3-year degrees for any people around the world that come here that want their credentials recognized. So we still have a lot of work to do. We're going to work hard to continue building relationships. It's all about building relationships. And, you know, if you voted for us, I thank you. If you didn't vote for us, I'm going to work with you. And as we say, get it done.
Hi, Premier. Dustin Cook with the Globe and Mail. Parents across the province are still waiting for child care rebates they were told to expect in May. What's the holdup, and when can families expect to see this money?
Yeah, thanks for that question. So, you know, it's retroactive, so they aren't going to have out of pocket any cost. We're making it retroactive, going back, I think it's April, I believe. I'll double check on that. So that's 25% right off the hop. And by the end of the year, it'll be another 25%. We'll make sure we get down to $10 a day daycare as soon as possible. And it was just, I think we worked so hard with the federal government. We got an incredible deal with the federal government. And I had a conversation with the Prime Minister last night, and both of us sat back and reviewed everything that we got done together. And there's so much that unites us versus, we can disagree on things, we both know, but if you look at the largest subway, build in North America right now, $30 billion. We work together with the municipal and federal and provincial government, no matter if it was childcare, which was a phenomenal deal, the electric vehicles, the electric batteries, the electric arc furnaces that we're switching over in Hamilton and Sioux. And there was just a whole raft of things that we chatted about last night that is great for the country. You know, people, once the campaign's on, people understand there's going to be, a few things thrown back and forth. But I can assure you, speaking to the people, once the campaign's over, they expect us to work together with all the municipalities and the federal government, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to work collaboratively with all 3 levels of government, because that's the way we're unstoppable. We're unstoppable when we work together.
On the gas tax cut set to come into effect this summer, that's temporary for only 6 months. What happens after that?
Well, we'll take a look at it, and hopefully, traditionally, in September, when they switch over the gas, it drops a little bit. But I encourage the federal government, let's help out the people. Let's cut the 11 cents temporarily, and that puts a few more dollars into people's pockets, and that's what we're doing. We're trying to give them a little bit of relief, no matter if it's the license plate sticker, the road tolls, or the gas tax cut that we're going to do. But that's a real global situation that we're facing.
Hey, Premier. Congratulations. Mark Lieberman with CP24. Sick Kids Hospital confirms the number of children waiting for scheduled surgeries has gone up 50% since the start of the pandemic. Right now, 5,600 kids are waiting to get into the operating room. Outside of putting money into hospital construction and development, what specifically are you going to do to help these children now that you're reelected? When it comes to backlog surgeries, obviously children are a priority, but other areas are a priority too. And I just don't have the figure. I'm pretty good with figures, but this one, I thought it was about $180 million to get backlog surgeries. But if I can get back to you, or one of my team members can get back to you, we're going to put money into that to make sure that we clear up the backlog surgeries. And hopefully by the end of this year coming, we'll have a good chunk of them, if not all of them, cleared up, so I'm told from the ministry. Do you have any specific steps in that regard?
We need to make sure that our operating rooms are going around the clock. MRIs are going around the clock when possible. But the biggest thing is not the infrastructure of hospitals. It's HHR, Health Human Resources. We're training people up as quickly as possible.
we're putting, the medical school up. We're getting more undergrads and grads, out of the university medical schools and into the hospitals. We're moving as quickly as possible on that. So that's the biggest challenge in health right now, is the health human resources. But we're trying to bring as many people on as quickly as possible.
Hey, Premier, I just wanted to ask you a lighthearted question. You've been hearing it on the campaign for the last 30 days. Can you sing or recite all the lyrics to the Get It Done song? Go.
I'm sorry. You guys must have caught it. Oh, yeah. Well, you know something? Honestly, guys, you go to bed, you get the 3 hours sleep. Again, I think I went to sleep at 3 or 4 in the morning, and it wasn't from partying. I was studying these numbers. You go to bed thinking of that song. It was pretty catchy. So we'll get it. Yeah. So I'll give you guys a copy of it all. But you know something, I want to tell you, and I'm being sincere with the media. I want to thank the media. You've been very, very fair and balanced right across this. When you need to ask tough questions to any party, you asked them. But I just want to thank you. And don't think for a second, your questions, I don't go back and I think about them and your ideas, because you're part of Team Ontario. You come up, you do your due diligence, you dig into issues, you bring them to me and our team, and I go right back to Yvonne and other people and saying, guys, they made a great point, look into it, let's get it done, because you help out tremendously. You are a key part of this province, and you're a key part of looking for areas that we can improve on. So I just want to say thank you. I'm very grateful for all the hard work that you did as well. So folks, thank you so much. And I'm just going to wrap up here. I just have to wrap up here. I get obsessed with returning everyone's calls. The last time I looked, I had slightly over 1,000 messages. So the people that messaged me, please give me 3 or 4 days to get back to you. Honestly, it means a lot. I got to get back to people. But if I'm delayed, I'm not ignoring your message. So thank you, everyone. We're going to move forward with this province, and I'm just so grateful and humbled. And I will never, ever take it for granted with this election. I'm going to work twice as hard. So thank you, and God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
Working hard every day. We got the heart to find a way. Nobody said it was an easy road, and we won't stop. We don't ever fold. We got big, big dreams, so you gotta believe in someone you trust to make them real. With one good plan, a future to build. Now it's up to you and me.